Welcome to Sean Can't Cook, but John Can. Sean and I have been actors for many years, but I assure you, this is no act. He really can't cook. I'm going to teach Sean and you at home how to feel more comfortable in the kitchen, preparing tasty recipes that even the most novice of cooks can create. I will show you step by step how to construct each dish so that when your friends come over, they'll ask, "How'd you learn how to make that?" If you already know how to cook, I hope you'll find a few recipes to add to your repertoire. Let's see what's on today's menu. Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Sean Can't Cook, but John Can.
I really can't.
He can't. Enough of that, we already know that, but he's getting better. Today, I'm going to show you, and you at home, how to make something that is in every grocery, refrigerated section, and at quite a few restaurants, it's everywhere. Hummus. Yes, you can make it at home. You don't have to buy it. And what I like about making it at home is you know what's going into it exactly. We're also going to show you two variations, and something that I haven't really talked about, but we've kind of talked about it, is adaptable cooking. And what I mean by that is, for instance, we're putting lemon juice in today. You might not like a lot of lemon juice. Maybe you want more. You can add a little bit more. I'm putting in 2 teaspoons today. The reason I don't put a ton of it in, I've seen recipes that have a lot of lemon juice in. I don't want it to taste like lemon. And the variations that we're putting in, the spice mixture, the herbs, I don't put a ton in because I don't want it to taste like one thing. I want to be able to taste the hummus, but also with a little bit of accent. So, before we get started, let's get the Sean Cam fired up and show you exactly what goes into hummus. The base ingredients that you will need for every hummus are one 15-ounce can of garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. These have been drained and then rinsed. We will measure out 2 teaspoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice. You will need 1/4 of a cup of tahini paste, 1 clove of garlic, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. We'll measure out 3/8 of a teaspoon of salt and water as needed. The equipment that you need is very simple. A food processor and a bowl to store it in and a spatula to scrape that out. For the variations that we're going to make today, the first one, we're going to add an additional 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, which will make a 1/2 teaspoon total, 1 teaspoon of dried basil, 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of dried parsley, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder. The second variation that we're going to make includes 1 tablespoon of chili paste that can be found in the Asian section of your grocery store. And we're going to chop up 4 stems of green onions, also known as scallions. These are 4. I use from the tip to about here. I cut off the very edge of it. So from there to about here. And that's it. Let's make some hummus. Now that you know what goes into hummus, let's show you how to make it. First of all, you're going to measure 2 teaspoons of lemon juice and put it into the food processor. I have the really hard task of dumping in a clove of garlic because the machine is going to do the work. 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Again, if you want a little more or a little less, you can adjust that, but this is a good starting point. So,
Is that fresh squeezed?
It's fresh squeezed.
Nice.
So, take that aside. And all the tahini paste can go in.
Oh, okay.
Scoop that in there.
And how much was this?
This is 1/4 of a cup. Tahini paste, in case you don't know, is ground sesame seeds. That's all it is. That's all it should be when you look at the ingredients on the bottle or can. Sometimes you see it in a can. Yeah. Sometimes I've seen it in a can. Sometimes I've seen it in a jar, plastic bottle. Make sure it's just 100% pure ground sesame seeds. That's all it is.
And where would I even find this?
So I found it in the Mediterranean section of our grocery store, and yeah, it should have a Mediterranean section. Thank you. So we're not going to let that spoon fall on the floor like
No,
we did
we're
before.
not.
So we're going to process this for about a minute. It will chop the garlic and it will whip this up a little bit. So this is going to get a little noisy. So we'll do a little pulse first. Just to get it started. And I'm going to let it run for about a minute and we'll come back and show you what it looks like. This has been mixing for about a minute, minute and a half. And it starts to look a little bit like peanut butter. It gets very thick. The garlic's chopping up in there, so it gets kind of thick, whips it up a little bit. So the next thing we're going to add is, you can pour that in, the olive oil.
All right.
Just pour that in. And we're going to add 3/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Now you may think, why isn't he just putting in a half a teaspoon? Because that's 4/8. I did that when I was making this recipe, formulating it, and it just felt like a little too much. If you want a little more salt, adaptable cooking, feel free to put it in. So this is 1/4 and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So we'll put that in. And we're going to blend this again for another minute till it gets more homogenized. And since it's very noisy, we'll do that and come right back. Welcome back. So we've added the olive oil and the salt, and as you can see, it's a little bit runnier now, which is fine. The chickpeas are going to thicken that up. So if you, Sean, could please put in half of those.
Okay.
Roughly, doesn't have to be perfect. Whatever you think half is. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to blend this again on low or high, and as you can see, it's breaking them up. It just breaks them up a little bit more evenly when you do them half the time. Let's take a little look and see. So it's kind of dry, but we're going to put the other half in now.
Okay.
And the water is the option. So you might need it, you might not, depending on the consistency of the chickpeas, the olive oil. So we're just going to add these and we'll be right back to show you what it looks like after that. Blend this for about another minute, let's say. Welcome back. We blended this for about 1.5 to 2 minutes, and it's pretty good consistency. We were debating on whether to add some water to this or not. And what did you say?
I said we should.
Yes, we should put a little bit of water in. So put in about, that's a tablespoon. Let's put half of that in, about 1.5 teaspoons. Or so. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes, it does.
Or you can measure out 1.5 teaspoons, but this is perfect. So that's a little bit of water. So we're going to blend this for about 30 more seconds and we'll be right back again. We have hummus. We made it together, but in a few minutes you're going to make your own variation. So this is the consistency. It got a little thinner with the water. If you want it thinner, you can make it a little thinner by adding more water. You, when I made this a couple nights ago, said, I like it thicker, I like it drier. So it's a personal preference thing. I'm sort of in the middle. So you could make it attractive if you want and swirl it around. And traditionally, if you've seen in restaurants, they put a little olive oil in the middle. So we're just going to do this around. You can make it as attractive as you want.
So
you can
fancy.
Plop it in a bowl if you want. It's fine. Oh gosh, fun times, fun times. So we're just going to pour a little bit in the middle. And you could even sort of draw it through a little bit, make a little river, a little lake of olive oil through it on the top. And to further finish it off, take a little pinch of paprika if you want. If you don't have it, if you don't want to use it, that's fine too. Sprinkle some on top. You know, I didn't rehearse this. I'm just sort of having fun with this now.
It looks fantastic.
It just sort of really, it does sort of finish it off. You know what? I'm going to do a little bit more.
Woohoo!
Oh, now I got too much.
Boy.
Not too much. We don't want too much. You don't want it to taste like
Man,
paprika.
you can smell the paprika.
There you go. So you know what? Here. For good luck. So, our empty table with some hummus. Doesn't that look good?
Give it a
looks
nice,
really good.
give it a nice
I don't want the olive oil to go running everywhere. Tyler will come out and have a field day. So we're now going to show you two variations. You're going to make one. I'm going to make one side by side. We've got two food processors. So let's get started with those. Welcome back. Now that you know how to make basic hummus, and you know how to make it, well, you've watched me make it. Now you're going to actually make it. So we've got two food processors going here. You're going to make, he's a little nervous. Wait, have you ever used a food processor? No. Okay. I didn't think so, but I had to ask. There's no eggs this week. Aren't you happy? No eggs. Not that you do anything with them anyway. So anyway, before I get smacked in the face here, we're going to start. So the easy part, garlic. Actually, you can start this ahead of time. You can just throw the garlic in by itself. Turn this on.
What should it look like?
Good.
Like that? Oh, it's done.
Yep. Perfect. So, next is 2 teaspoons or more or less, depending on your taste, of lemon juice. So there you go. And the tahini paste goes in.
Okay. We don't need this string. We're done.
No, we're done with that. Okay. So, the tahini paste is in. I'm going to sit that
Should I do that?
there. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all will make a mess. So for mine, I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of chili paste and the scallions that we talked about. You don't have to cut them up small because the food processor is going to do all the work for you. So we can put that in. I'm going to put the chili paste in now.
Okay, so that's done.
That's good. You're not going to put your spices in yet. You can wait for a minute for that. So we're going to blend this for about a minute, get everything nice and smooth. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be right back to show you what that looks like. Welcome back. We blended these for about a minute and a half. I want to show you what mine looks like because it's got the chopped up scallions in there. The food processor did all the work for me. So that's looking good. Yours is, at this point, just a plain hummus. We're going to add the spices a little bit. Next thing we're going to do is add salt. So for this one, I'm putting in 3/8 of a teaspoon of salt, like we talked about before. And it's 1/4 and 1/8. You're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon, but you're just going to put 3/8 because we already got 1/8 measured out there.
So which one do I use? The big one?
Both of those. That's the 1/4 and the 1/8.
So I do both of these?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
3/8, and that's the other 1/8. It's a 1/2. When I made this with the spices, I tasted it and I thought it just needs a little bit more salt. So again, you can adjust, adaptable. While he's doing that, I'm going to put in the olive oil.
All right.
And you're going to put your olive oil in and the spices on that plate.
Okay. Now?
Yep.
Okay.
All that can go in now. So we're going to blend these for, again, another 1 to 2 minutes to make sure it's all homogenized and smooth. And we'll come back and show you what that looks like. Welcome back. These blended for another 1 to 2 minutes. And we're going to do the 1/2 and 1/2, half the chickpeas. Blend for a little bit, about a minute. And then the other 1/2 will go in another 1 minute. So we'll come back after we get those done. It's hummus time!
Yay!
Yay! So, we've got our 3 hummuses. The original with a little oil and paprika. Yours that has some basil and parsley and oregano in it. And mine that has some chili paste and some scallions. So, if you're having a party and you want to tell people what's what, this is the plain with paprika. I sprinkle a little parsley on top of his, and there's some chopped scallions on top of mine, so you'll know which is which. Pita bread, cut up in little triangles, is traditional. Some cucumbers, carrots, you can have celery, anything you want to dip in it. Pretzels, the sky's the limit. So let's try some. Which one are you going to try? I'm going to try yours.
Uh-oh.
So, oops.
You know, this was really easy to
I'm
make.
making a mess. I know
It was really easy to
This
make.
is probably the easiest thing. There's no stove, there's no oven,
No.
no microwave, no heat involved in making this. So, I like the spice one.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I like them all. I came up with them, so I hope I like them. So
it does taste better than store-bought.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference.
And again, as I keep saying, it's adaptable. So you can put in what you want. You could put dill in. You could put whatever you want to put in. Whatever you want to put in.
That one's got a kick.
Yes, it does. I like that one. Yeah. First time I made it was a little bit 2 teaspoons.
No,
and I
you upped it.
I threw a tablespoon in. I said, let's have some zing to it. So
this was delicious.
Thank you again for joining us. We'll be back again next week for another tasty recipe that this guy's going to make. And hopefully you'll want to make it at home too. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.